It's 100 years since Prince Borghese and 4 other drivers raced 8,000 miles from China to France, and we are with 130 antique cars trying to do it again. Their owners have paid £35,000 each to enter, and the race stops every night like the Tour de France. We're following 5 video diarists. There are the Itala boys. Their car's a load of trouble, but Adam and Jonathan would sooner laugh than cry. The Geordie lads. Joe is a television chef and Bob has a pub. He bought the pub after being banned from it. There are the Aussies. Andrew invited his dad to drive him to Paris, and here they are. There are the 2 fast ladies. Pamela likes the accelerator, Nicola prefers the brake. And there's baby driver, petite Michele from Manhattan. She's with Dan from the Midwest. Michele's the driver, and that's the way she likes it. And I'm Jack Pizzey, and I'm on the race, trying to understand what's going on. Michele is driving a little 1930 Chevrolet. She's not the only woman driver on the race, but there are men who are surprised she can do it.
I talked to another guy. He said, "So, I hear you're driving the whole way." I said, "Yeah, that's right." He said, "Well, haven't you been exhausted the last couple of days? Don't you just get in if you're just exhausted?"
Well, I had several comments from people I knew. They said, "You're not going to drive any of this?" I said, "Well, Michele's the one with driving experience." "Yeah, but she's a girl."
Take this salt out. Because they got a problem in the engine.
Do you think it could be a main bearing?
Oh, it's bound to be one of those. I don't know, there's a bloody great noise coming out of the engine. The good news is we're in the middle of the Gobi Desert, 90 miles.
Is the Gobi Desert in Mongolia? Do you know that for a fact?
Ow!
What are you doing now?
Taking the sump guard off.
Okay, I'm going to get a spot of lunch.
Can you go and get me a...
What do you want?
Can I have a Big Mac and fries?
No, I think it's KFC.
KFC, that'll do. We can do something to drink. We haven't got any water, we haven't got any food.
What do you want, a latte?
Latte would be good.
Okay.
Latte would be lovely.
So basically we're waiting for the service crew to arrive, right?
Yeah, or God, or the AA.
What's this in the car?
Let's call the AA. Oh, that's you doing something on the hoof.
That's lunch. Look, there's our lunch.
That you've seen from this rally, you wait till you have a look at this. This is just desolate. There's nothing and nothing else. Absolutely nothing.
We're heading right on towards a right-hand track if we can. A right-hand track. There goes the toilet road. Oh, I might be needing that later.
Here we are in the middle of absolute nowhere. 70 miles from the nearest town. Well, Mongolian definition of a town. Clearly no roads, no water. Adam, how are you feeling right now?
Good.
Good?
Well, it looks like we're not, we're in a bit of a jam, but we've got 2 service crews behind us.
Just for clarification, that's not a traffic jam.
No, it's a bit of a pickle. We've bust a main bearing, and there's only one way we can fix that, and that's in a large tent, so the person can get in the end.
Or garage, preferably.
The nearest large tent is 70 miles that way.
Okay.
And we're going to have to be towed there. These roads are bumpy, but,
Crikey.
we got to get to Paris.
Actually, towing this car on these roads with all these potholes and goodness knows what else is not going to be good. I don't feel good right now.
Oh, shit, I'll tell you what, Andrew, it's bloody desolate in here.
Yeah, it's desolate, and looking forward for a hot shower and a shave tonight.
We're all in a decent mood.
still got 4 bottles of wine from China, from China in the back.
You talk.
We'll get pissed, we'll park the car up and have a wash, have a shave and just get pissed tonight.
So we've been stuck in the desert now for maybe 2.5 hours. No sign of any help. Sat phone works, but we can't raise anybody on the sat phone. So we're starting to think about maybe pitch our tent, have some breakfast. How are you feeling, Adam? Looking forward to breakfast?
In the morning, wanting some breakfast, something to put on my toes. Whoa, vitalize.
Cool, so.
Something to put on my toes. Whoa, vitalize.
Good, so this is clearly what happens when you have 2.5 hours in the desert.
Well, you got to look on the bright side. What have we got to
Always
be grateful
look on the bright side of life.
What have you got to be glad about? The sun is shining.
That's a problem.
There's a fresh breeze.
That's also a problem.
There's nobody around apart from a few flies.
That's also a problem.
Oh, and you.
Oh, I'm here. That's your opportunity.
Just kidding.
Okay.
And, you know, we're optimistic that we're going to get to Paris. I mean...
Yeah, we got a race to win, right?
We got a race to win.
Hold on. Yeah, got this one.
Meters, then I have another reference point.
Oops!
You hanging on? Yeah, I'm hanging on. Don't worry about me. I'm doing great.
Oh, I can see 2 cars up ahead.
They're having the time of my life. I'm glad I'm not driving though. I seriously am not.
You said you love the rough stuff.
I do love the rough stuff, but I can't drive at speed on rough.
John, what were you doing up there?
Listening to my iPod. Oh.
What is it? I can't get no satisfaction.
No, actually, it's a good song by The Verve called I'm a Lucky Man.
The car's down there. John's walking towards the car. Oh, no, we don't want to see that. Now, look who's coming.
After 3 hours, a car comes along. The navigator is Welsh.
Rumour has it that there's been a wheel bearing problem in car number 1. Here it comes up the road. Oh. Oh dear. You what? What's been your problem? You've had a back wheel bearing break?
A back wheel bearing!
Oh dear. Who's that ghost?
The Aussies were dreaming about a shave and a bottle of wine tonight. This was not part of the dream.
The front suspension had fallen off. He's had to fix it. So, no problem.
No problem.
Most cars have been going well so far, but soft sand doesn't help. This little Bugatti was not designed for this terrain, and neither was the too fast lady's car.
Okay, here you see Nicola shoveling sand, trying to dig us out because we're stuck.
A backup crew has finally reached the Itala boys. Now we'll find out what's wrong.
We've broken the crank. We need a new crankshaft. That is the worst news that we've heard for a while.
A couple of local guys turn up to have a look. They're low on petrol.
And your name is? The man with no name. And your name is? Very nice hat there. We are donating the organ of our petrol tank to the Sonic.
It's got a very cool jacket.
Very nice jacket. Your name? John. John. You have a name? John?
John. Adam.
Adam.
You're right at the top.
Adam.
Adam.
John.
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 John. John.
Thank you. Enke.
Enke. And him? John Wayne.
My very British Land Rover is loving the desert, but the desert's about to get nasty. Suddenly, we're dragging cars out of the sand. We filmed this one, but a sandstorm makes it impossible to cover the second.
Oh, well, we couldn't actually film that because the sandstorm was too strong. Couldn't stand in it. But we managed finally to push both cars and we're out of it. This is getting serious, so now we've got to go and look for a place to sleep the night and pitch a tent. Okay, here's the sandstorm. Here's Jerry, who is just seems to have broken something. Jerry, how are you feeling about this?
I'm feeling pretty well.
Pretty well?
Yeah, I am actually, yes. I've always wanted to break down in the middle of the desert in a sandstorm with night coming on.
You enjoying this? Yeah? Can't see anything? Take your goggles off. You can't really see the sand blowing around here, but I can tell you there's a lot of sand in the air. And it gets in every hole in your body. That's why we're all covered up. We're off. We're off. We're off. David, haven't you got any goggles? Well, Peter and Betty said there might be a sandstorm. That was a minute ago. And we're right in the thick of it. Can't see a damn thing. We got sand everywhere. And this is not nice. This is not good.
Well, that's all part of the adventure.
Okay. All right, well, I got sand in my eyeballs. And I got sand.
Balls?
Balls on our sword.
That's an old joke. We're going now. Bye.
Some people have made it to the camping place for the night, and now it's just a matter of putting up their tents. One driver is looking around and may be wondering why he went to the trouble of restoring his beautiful old car and then paid £35,000 to come on the race. It's Bob from the Geordie lads.
What is to camp in this, in the middle of a sandstorm? It's absolutely incredible. You can't even see, let alone put a tent up. I mean, Jesus Christ. Talk about endurance, this is... this is certainly endurance. If you can handle this, you can handle anything. How's it going, Joe? Can you manage? That'll be the easiest thing. It's like being on top of the Himalayan mountain, isn't it? What do you get for 35 grand? Patch of sand in the desert with a tent with a few beers in. Oh, this guy's got it sorted. He's got his own beers. I need beer. Beer. The shop blew. The beer tent had just disappeared in a pile in the desert. Oh my God.
100 years ago in the Gobi Desert, Prince Borghese rigged this tent over his Itala, but the tent blew away. There's a redoubtable Mongolian support team. The facilities need to be good because there are CEOs of big corporations on the race and royalty as well. Hot food and the mateship of a shared adventure for the lucky ones who've made it to the camp. And there goes the King of Malaysia. Beef stew and sponge pudding for the fortunate few, but for those still out in the desert like the Itala boys, it's wind and sand.
Well, John doesn't think I should be filming because he thinks everybody's a bit stressed. But here we are, the camera's just focused in. Here's our tow vehicle. Peter and Betty. Rob is doing a fabulous job on the towing. And here's Karen and David behind us. They've joined the convoy. We've got quite a few people in this convoy now.
It's 4:30 in the morning. We've been on tow for 11 hours. We've been looking for the campsite for an hour and a half. We can't find it. So we decided to pitch tents and get an hour of sleep before trying to find it later. It's been quite an afternoon, quite an evening. Here's the tent with Jonathan inside. There's the car.
In the camp, it's a new day and the weather has settled.
Well, how are you this morning?
Great, slightly hungover. Slept in the outdoor without any tent whatsoever. And got quite a good night's sleep. It was really nice, sleeping in the desert under the sky in the sleeping bag. We had quite an exciting little occasion. It was a lot more fun than putting a tent up in the window. So yeah, I had about 4 hours sleep.
Pretty good.
Half a bottle of Macallan puts you to sleep no problem. It was really good actually.
What is it, 10-year-old malt, is it?
And then it rained.
It rained?
Yes, just when I was having my lie-in, it just started to rain. I thought, oh my God, I'll have to get in the car now.
People have paid for adventures and they've already had a few. What do the Aussies think of it so far?
I've never been through anything like it. Not that my experience is vast in these types of events, but boy.
And then it got
Are you
dark.
beginning to wonder what your son has got you into?
Oh no, I enjoyed the challenge. It's so bloody cold I can hardly bloody talk.
Yeah, navigating the sandstorm, navigating at night. We came across the track, lost the track, came back, so we're just doing that. And I think the hardest part was trying to get from Saint-Chan to the campground.
Well, I think from what they say, there are about 35 cars still out there. And they will have had to camp by their cars and work it out this morning. Yeah. Well, anyway, don't worry, there are some mountains to come. It'll get colder.
No. Oh, this is nearly as bad as the yurts that we slept in the other. Got out there and I thought, God, what am I doing here? And I looked out, there's absolutely total nothing. Bloody hell. What a place.
Michele has slept the night in the little Chevrolet. She's woken up remembering yesterday's driving.
Oh, we had a brilliant day. Just great. Let's see, what happened? Shall we relive it? Yeah, so the first part was really tricky. And it was so much fun, so much fun. I just loved it. It was an absolute joy. And the car loved it. It had been overheating the whole time. And miraculously, we get into the sand and the temperature went down. Yeah, so the car and I both love the same terrain, which is great. And hate the same terrain. We hate tarmac, but we love the sand. And then on the time trial, we did well. We just hit the ground running. And we flew once, 4 wheels off. Dan, I think, was a little shaken, but I loved it. And the car held up amazingly well. We got stuck once in the sand. I miscalculated a little bit, but in general, the deep sand, we just flew right through it. Great day.
It wasn't such a good day for our ambulance.
But can you just tell us what happened briefly?
Yeah, we were just coming around a left bend basically, and the bend was tighter than we thought it was, so we turned the corner. But we were on gravel initially, and the car started sliding around, but then we hit solid rock, and it was very rutted, and the car just dug into the ruts and just rolled over basically a few times. Well, rolled onto the driver's side, onto the roof, and landed on my side. So.
Were you hurt?
Paul's got a few cuts on his arm, but it was okay. So.
Did you have your seatbelts on?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Everything stayed reasonably well contained in the back as well.
So what is the plan for medical backup from here on?
The plan is to make this drivable really today, isn't it? And get this to Ulaanbaatar.
Make this drivable?
Yeah, well,
we've driven it.
It drives, yeah.
We got towed for about 3 kilometres, and then we stopped and tried the engine. It was working, so we drove it for about 20 kilometres, and then the engine just died again, so we got towed into camp.
Peter Livanos is a Greek shipping billionaire with his own support team travelling nearby.
Call Ankdul's father. Okay. We need a four-wheel drive ambulance to follow us to the Russian border with a Mongolian driver to bring it back. We got the doctor. We've got all the medical equipment. Okay, and the organizers are willing to pay for it. They're even willing to buy the ambulance.
Bob is by the breakfast tent, and the Itala boys have finally made it into camp with the story of their adventures.
And having driven through a sandstorm, being towed in that car with no windscreen, Adam was driving, the tow rope must have broken 20 times. It was a nightmare. And of course, being on the road, we were pulled and we nearly hit him.
It's quite funny when I overtook him, wasn't it?
Yeah, we overtook him at one stage. It was very funny. So we were singing songs and trying to keep our spirits up, trying to keep awake, and trying to have as much fun as we could, really, at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning in a sandstorm, as you do.
What happens now?
Now we're going on a truck to Ulaanbaatar, and Adam says we'll diagnose what the problem is, and we're going to fix it and get to Paris. That was great. On the bright side of life, do-do, 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 when life's a piece of shit. No, we've got a lot.
On the Sunbeam Rapier, it's Nicola's job to keep the car running.
There's no actual problem, just because we went through a sandstorm yesterday. The oil bath air filter has got a lot of sand in it, so it's really quite dirty, so I'm going to change the oil in the oil bath filter.
What sort of time did you have towards the end of the day yesterday?
Our actual time trial, we did in 1 hour and 6 minutes, which was within the maximum time. So.
Did you enjoy yourself?
Yes, it was really, really good.
Now we're at the only filling station in 200 miles. The next leg of the race will take us to Mongolia's capital, Ulaanbaatar. Before we set out, Joe records a message home.
Hello, Mom. Hello, Dad. Hello, Ava, darling. Hi, Imogen. Oh, if you're only seeing what we've just been through, you wouldn't believe it. This is a little note for you, so I hope I can, I'll get it clipped off later. A big kiss for Ava Rose. A big kiss for you. And we just had 200 kilometres through the desert, and it's been amazing. What an experience.
Catch up with Joe again in the next programme, On the Road to Ulaanbaatar.
The official book of the Peking to Paris is out now, published by Veloci at $29.99. Check out pekingparis.com for further information.